Musicians deserve to be paid in and out of the church. Let's get that out of the way first and foremost. Yes, the Levites were taken care of. This is a story that my mom always tells me about, okay? I understand this, but did they demand certain amounts? Did they not show up when they weren't paid? Is that how they behaved? I don't clarify for me. I know I'm a pastor's kid, but I'm not.
So yeah, this is an interesting conversation that we have time and time again, about musicians being Levites and being of the Levitical order and all of those things like that. Um, I understand the figurative language around that, right? But just my perspective and just my own study, um, just because you're a musician doesn't qualify you as a Levite. There are biblical requirements for being a part of the tribe of Levi. You know what I mean? Like you had to be Hebrew, you had to be born into that tribe first and foremost. But if we get into that, then I shy away from it. Again, I'm saying this so you guys don't eat me alive in the comment section. I understand the figurative language, the metaphorical language behind it. But at the same time, I don't like that language. And you're talking to somebody who grew up under it and ascribed to it and used to say it. So I'm not somebody that's just like on outside looking in. I'm someone that's been on the inside and got on the outside and just looking back in and saying like some of the stuff we was doing and saying was just stupid. And I have to line up that that's one of those things because it's a little erroneous because it kind of plays into legalism. That's one of the main reasons why I shy away from that language now is because if you're trying to define yourself as a Levite, then you have to do what the Levites did. And that's something I don't even really have time to unpack in this short video. You need to go, if you really want to call yourself a Levite, you need to go study what Levites did because it's not something that you can, a term that you can just throw on yourself and say, I'm a Levite.
Did they not show up when money wasn't there? Or did they do their service? In the secular world, musicians should be paid because it's considered literally a business. They're not there to save souls. They're not doing their, performances to bring people into God and stuff. They're just performing music for the sake of performing. But we're doing music for a totally different reason. Yes, we can have fun and dance and perform, whatever, have fun in the church, but we're also there for a much higher purpose, and that is to make people happy, to spread the gospel, and to save souls. It's different. If you think of the church as a business, let me put this into perspective for you. God is your boss. It's not the pastor, it's God. So what happens when you don't show up for your service? Your boss is going to look at you and be like, dang, he's not reliable. I can't count on this person to save souls for me, so why would I allow him to keep his job? Why?
So what he's saying is valid points. It's valid points is what he's saying. I mean, apart from the whole Levite thing or what have you, I holistically agree with what he's saying. Like, you can't, if because I think the holistic of where I'm getting what he's coming from is that if you are wanting to be paid as a church musician, if you're wanting to lock into this whole thing, and then you have to, if you're providing a service, provide a service. If you're running a business, run a business. And too many times in the church, we demonize the aspects of money and ministry, but yet and still ministry is always taking in money, but yet there's a problem with it. I don't have a problem with ministries taking in money, but I think the term of like demonizing, whether or not a musician should be paid or not is a different thing, is or whether, church should be looked at as a means to generate income. If you do this full time, if you're a full-time musician and you have no other skill set other than being a musician and or church musician specifically, and you want to pursue that, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that. I did it myself for well over a decade of my life. I pursued being a church musician full time, meaning that I served the church, served multiple churches, you know what I mean, in that capacity, and took care of my family with that. And I did it as an honest. I don't smoke, don't drink. I'm husband of one wife, father of 6 kids, all one woman. You know what I mean? And I served the church from an honest um, place, and I got paid to do so. And I don't see anything wrong with that, you know, and I don't think there's anything. But from the standpoint of what he's even saying, make sure that if you are doing it as unto the Lord, um, you do it um you do it with service. You serve to your bit to the best of your abilities. Whatever you do, whatever, like me, whenever I'm in something, I'm in it 100%.
His tools, his badge, his you know, the moment that money disappears is when you disappear. So why would I want to count on you for anything? Because all you care about is money. So if this is all the case, you're just as disposable as any employee at any job. You can be let go at any time and have everything taken away from you in a moment's notice without even having 2 weeks notice. And they'll put you out, right? It's a business. Fire you for somebody else. We'll get somebody else who's more useful for the task, who can actually do the work, who actually wants to do the work, who actually wants results. In other words, pay your musicians, but musicians don't make demands. Get paid by way of love offerings and don't be entitled to anything. An entitled spirit, bro. I know I want to be paid and I'm glad I'm getting paid. I don't get paid probably a morsel of what you guys get paid out there, but it's not about money. And if it is, then you can go play for Jack and the Beanstalk Inn or something. I don't know, be in a house band at the downtown Kitten Caboodle. I don't know.
Never over leverage yourself in one thing, you know. So I always have been the guy that's had multiple things going on in order to keep revenue coming in, and that's the biggest thing that I do with musicians and trying to teach them and trying to help them um, learn how to get the bag even outside of, what you're doing on the church side of things, because as a church musician, you're so much more than just the guy that plays the organ on Sunday, the guy that plays the drums, the guy that plays the keyboard or whatever. You have legit superpowers. The fact that you can sit and listen to something and within 20 seconds of finishing that video or finishing that audio, listening to it or what have you, you can like play it back verbatim. That is a superpower. That means your brain works at a higher level than most human beings on this planet. It just does. That means you have the ability to take information, like bring it in, you know what I'm saying, digest it, and like disseminate it right back in an instant. That's a superpower, which means you could do the same thing when it comes to creating content, to building a business, learning how to edit and videos, learning how to do anything, building all kind of types of creative type business. You can take that same energy that it takes for you to sit and learn a song and learn how to build a business in the same amount of time. They say it only takes about 20 hours of study to become like knowledgeable and comparable in a specific subject or thing. And it takes only 100 hours of work to really perfect it. If you put 100 hours into something, we're not even talking about 10,000 hours. You'll get like proficient within the first 100 hours of doing something. You'll figure out, oh, I can do this. I can do this. I can learn this. I can code. I can learn how to, build a plugin. I can learn how to create a loop pack, or I can learn how to sample instruments, or I can learn how to do a YouTube video, or I can learn how to make content on TikTok. So that's kind of my play when it comes back to musicians. Don't over leverage yourself in one space or the other. You know what I mean? Like, don't over leverage yourself. Never do that. Never over leverage yourself in one space. You all want to thank you for making it to the end of this video. First of all, thank you for watching to the end. If you made it to the end, make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, drop a comment, and let me know what you think about everything that I've talked about. And make sure you check out the Patreon link down below. Hop over there for some exclusive content. All right, I'll talk to you guys on the next one. I'm out. Holla at your boy.